Hello and welcome to another update video about the Bank of America today. Yeah, we haven't covered this one before, not in a public video. It is a setup I shared already in October to our members of the stocks service, the stocks and S&P 500 service, which can be accessed via Patreon. You'll find a link in the video description. You can select different tiers. In the higher tiers, you can see additional stocks, in which we, cover charts that we cannot regularly update because of capacity constraints. I mean, there are 20 stocks included on a regular basis, plus daily S&P 500 videos, as well as stock updates. If you're interested in additional updates, additional stocks, those would be the higher tiers, advanced and professional. Professional, you can even request stocks and just explain that in case you're interested. But Bank of America was one of the additional setups that we share there. Obviously, it's a lot of additional work to cover additional charts. But just to show you how that works, so there are some additional updates we cover here. This was in October. Shared that Bank of America. I did chart it. Ideally, circle wave B off wave 2 starts in the white box. We were exactly at the white support zone. And you see that probably here on the chart. Price was at $25.17. That was one of the updates shared in October. And this B wave played out so far. So back to the live chart. The price rallied quite substantially from that zone. I would usually not really want to trade for a B wave, but sometimes there are opportunistic trades that, that just work or that at least seem like an interesting setup. But B waves themselves are difficult to trade, but it was a 44% upside from the October lows. Quite decent move. I mean, overall, the entire market rallied really. Whereas many stocks made new highs, the Bank of America didn't. So how is that embedded into the bigger picture? Well, first of all, what I'd like to do, I can draw a trend line here. I think that is quite relevant also going forward. We have 3 touch points here. Yeah, we had a break, but still we have 3 touch points. And I think on the way down, that would be an interesting marker to observe for potentially additional support. There are 2 counts. So there is one reason why I shared the setup at the time, because it's possible that we get one more high in wave 5. That would be only an alternative. In the preferred scenario, let's start with that one first. In the preferred scenario, we had a 5-wave pattern to the upside, a leading diagonal in which the subwaves are corrective. You see it here, A, B, C in wave 3. And also you can actually label that as a small A, B, and then the C wave up in wave 5. That could, however, be interpreted as a 5-wave move, this wave 5, which takes us to our alternative. But let's talk about the preferred scenario first, which is here basically a 5-wave move up. And we can expect that a wave 2 is unfolding. The move down was in 3 waves, which I label as the A wave. The B wave is likely still unfolding. There's absolutely no confirmation currently that the B wave has topped. But if we see signals that the B wave has topped, it could be the start of the... So if we see signals that the B wave has topped, it would be the start of the C wave to the downside most likely. And it could send us down. I mean, standard support, maybe I should add the 38.2 fib level. This is the standard support zone for a wave 2. We can calculate targets more precisely once we have a B wave top. But it seems reasonable to expect the pullback at least into the region between $11.26 and $16. And at the moment, it's following the pathway nicely. Okay, so this is the preferred scenario. We are going to zoom in a minute, take a look at the subwave structure. In an alternative scenario, the wave 1 would basically sit up there as an alternative, scenario, Alt 1, okay. How would that work out? Well, it's always possible because we haven't really come down very deep in this move down. It is always... Well, it was fairly deep, but still possible to see this as an A, B, C structure, because it's a leading diagonal, right? So we have here those corrective structures in the subwaves. Therefore, it's always possible that this extends higher. Okay, so that is why this was an interesting setup. I don't see a trade right now, but I want to make you aware that we're getting into a very, very critical point. So for anybody who's maybe holding bank stocks, maybe consider your risk. Now, very important, we haven't considered a top yet, or we haven't confirmed the top. So it is, however, the case that the Bank of America has now rallied into the 50% retracement, which is a very common retracement level or resistance level for a B wave. It's the 50% fib level of this decline. The next resistance above 35.50 is 38.60 and then 43.38. I think above 43.38 it starts to become more probable that we're actually in the C wave here to the upside. But honestly, I think this starts to look a bit like a three-wave move. So this B wave might very well still stretch a little higher. A wave, B wave, C wave. And it would basically, the first indication that the C wave to the downside has started would be, one second, first indication that is, would be a break below this small B wave low that I've just labeled. And that is a break below the $31.30 level. Best confirmation we can get that the C wave has started is a break below the October low, and that's around $24.90. So we pretty much at the time, pretty much caught the low at $25, which is cool. What we would need in addition, and I always urge people not to short too early, because what we normally want to see is this. We want to see a 5-wave move down, obviously in wave C, yeah. This is the standard pattern how a C wave would unfold. As soon as we have the initial 1-2 setup, this would be the time actually to enter or consider a potential short trade. Basically, when we have a clear wave 1 and a clear wave 2, that's a corrective rally, and we stay below the B wave top, which hasn't formed yet. That's a short trade setup, basically with a stop above the B wave top, to short down the third wave, and then possibly also the 4 and the 5. Certainly with a goal to take some profits at the end of the third wave. Yeah, and that's basically the structure. Obviously a bit concerned here about Bank of America because this could be quite a substantial move to the downside. If it doesn't happen basically from here, then probably after the C wave has topped, and then the alternative wave 1 would then start to, well, lead to a wave 2. Either way, I think we're fairly close to a top. If this alternative count plays out, and you see, this is also why the setup was actually not too bad, because we had an A wave down that probably could have resulted in a B wave rally, which happened, or in an alternative perspective, this AB with a projected C wave to the upside, which at the time was sort of there as an option, but I didn't really consider it much now, though, because some other banks look a little bit as if they want to do that. This is something I want to look closer at for Bank of America as well. But preferred would be here that this B wave tops in this region and then the C wave down starts. Be aware, however, that B waves are extremely difficult because they can even overshoot. What I have shown you here as resistance is only standard resistance for a B wave. What I would like to do before we finish the video is to share with you the C wave target. If really the white count plays out, then we are talking about round about $70, because that's the 100% extension level of the white A wave, and it would be yeah, it basically would be an ideal target for wave C. That's my update about Bank of America. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you're interested in daily updates about the S&P 500, as well as regular updates about stocks, feel free to check out our stocks and S&P 500 service. You'll find the link in the description. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.